All right, so here's what's going on right now. Things are starting to heat up behind the scenes, and even though nothing's official yet, you can feel that something big is getting close. The team isn't rushing, they're staying patient, but at the same time, there's clearly a plan in motion. It's one of those situations where you just know something's building, and it could change everything once it finally drops. Now, leave a comment and tell me how long you've been a fan. And if you've been a fan for more than 20 years, I want to see a "black and gold until I die" in the comments. The Pittsburgh Steelers are now operating under a very clear, yet still unresolved timeline regarding Aaron Rodgers, and what we're learning from inside the building is that this situation is much closer to a conclusion than many fans might think, even if there's still no official signature on paper. According to Art Rooney II, the organization has been in consistent communication with Rodgers, and more importantly, they've been given a defined window for when a decision is expected to arrive. What stands out here is not just the fact that Rodgers is still undecided, but how structured that uncertainty actually is. Rooney made it clear that the quarterback has already outlined his personal schedule for the coming weeks, signaling that this isn't a chaotic or unpredictable situation. Instead, it's a controlled waiting game, one where both sides appear aligned on timing. The phrase "we're close" wasn't thrown around casually. Inside the organization, there's a growing belief that this saga is entering its final stretch, even if it stretches slightly beyond the immediate horizon of the NFL draft. Now, if you're a Steelers fan wondering whether this delay is hurting the team's off-season preparation, the answer coming out of the coaching staff might actually surprise you. Mike McCarthy addressed this head-on, and his perspective flips the narrative entirely. Rather than seeing Rodgers' absence as a setback, McCarthy described it as beneficial, particularly for the quarterbacks currently taking reps in camp. That brings us to Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, who are quietly becoming central figures in this phase of the offseason. Both players are splitting reps and gaining valuable experience in a system they're still learning. This is not just routine practice work. This is foundational development in a new offensive structure being installed under McCarthy's leadership. Without Rodgers' uppercut, every snap becomes more meaningful for these quarterbacks, allowing them to build chemistry with the offense and gain confidence in real-time situations. And here's where things get even more interesting. Despite not being physically present, Rodgers is far from disconnected. McCarthy strongly hinted that the veteran quarterback is deeply engaged behind the scenes. Conversations between Rodgers and the organization have been frequent, reportedly happening multiple times per week, and they're not just casual check-ins. These discussions are centered around football, the offensive system, and potentially even roster construction. Think about that for a moment. You have a quarterback who hasn't officially committed, yet is already contributing intellectually to the team's planning. That tells you everything about the nature of this relationship. There's an implicit understanding here, almost like a handshake agreement that hasn't been formalized yet. It suggests that while Rodgers may still be weighing his options publicly, internally, there's a strong alignment forming between him and the Steelers. Timing is the next critical piece of this puzzle. OTA sessions are set to begin in mid-May, and Rooney's comments strongly imply that Rodgers' decision could arrive around that window. That would mirror a scenario where the quarterback joins just as the offseason transitions into more competitive and structured on-field work. From a football standpoint, that timing actually makes sense. Early off-season activities are heavily focused on installation and learning, areas where Rodgers already has a significant advantage due to his long history in similar systems under McCarthy. So instead of rushing back for sessions that may not maximize his value, Rodgers appears to be pacing his return strategically, ensuring that when he does arrive, it's at a moment when his presence has the greatest impact on the team's progression. For the Steelers, this approach avoids disrupting the development of younger quarterbacks, while still positioning themselves to integrate a future Hall of Fame talent at the right time. Meanwhile, there's another storyline developing that caught many fans off guard. Former Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin is stepping into a completely different arena, joining NBC as a lead analyst for Football Night in America. This transition marks a fascinating shift for someone who, not long ago, expressed a strong desire to remain in coaching. Tomlin's move brings a mix of intrigue and opportunity. His leadership experience, communication skills, and deep understanding of the game make him a natural fit for television. But history has shown that even the most knowledgeable football minds can face an adjustment period when stepping into media roles. Still, there's a widespread belief that his personality and insight will eventually make him one of the standout voices in NFL coverage. At the same time, there's a lingering expectation that this may not be a permanent departure from coaching. Around the league, it's easy to imagine teams monitoring Tomlin's situation closely, especially those searching for stability and proven leadership. If the right opportunity emerges, a return to the sidelines could happen sooner rather than later, which would create another ripple effect for the Steelers in terms of potential compensation and long-term roster planning. But bringing the focus back to the present, everything still revolves around Rodgers and that impending decision. The Steelers are not operating in the dark. They have a timeline, they have communication, and most importantly, they have confidence that clarity is coming soon. The organization appears calm, calculated, and fully prepared for whichever direction this situation ultimately takes. So now it comes down to you, Steelers Nation, knowing everything happening behind the scenes, the ongoing communication, the involvement Rodgers already has with the team, and the timing lining up with off-season milestones. Do you believe this is just a matter of time before he officially joins Pittsburgh? Or is there still a real chance this situation takes an unexpected turn? And when you keep connecting all the dots here, what becomes impossible to ignore is how coordinated this entire situation feels behind closed doors. The Steelers are not reacting. They're anticipating. The communication between Aaron Rodgers and the organization hasn't just been consistent. It's been meaningful, detailed, and, according to what's coming out of the building, heavily centered on real football decisions. That detail matters because teams don't involve undecided players in weekly football discussions unless there's a strong expectation of alignment. This isn't a casual checking-in process. This is collaboration. And when Mike McCarthy openly states that Rodgers is likely more in tune than we realize, that tells you the quarterback already has a working understanding of what this offense is going to look like in Pittsburgh. At the same time, the Steelers are maximizing every second of this waiting period. Mason Rudolph and Will Howard are not just placeholders. They're active participants in building the foundation of this offense. Every rep they take now creates insurance for later. Because if there's one reality everyone inside that building understands, it's that an experienced quarterback like Rodgers, at this stage of his career, comes with both elite upside and natural durability concerns. So what the Steelers are doing is quietly preparing for both outcomes at once. If Rodgers arrives, they're ready to elevate instantly with a quarterback who already knows the system. If anything unexpected happens, they've invested real time into developing the depth behind him. That's not hesitation. That's smart roster management. There's also another layer to this that fans shouldn't overlook. With the NFL draft right around the corner, the Steelers are operating with flexibility. The timing of Rodgers' decision, likely coming after the draft or closer to OTA practices, allows the front office to approach draft night without being locked into one rigid quarterback plan. And based on how involved Rodgers has reportedly been in conversations, it wouldn't be surprising if his preferences are already being considered when evaluating offensive talent, especially at key positions like wide receiver. All of this builds toward one unavoidable conclusion. The Steelers believe they know how this ends. They're not rushing. They're not showing urgency publicly. And they're not making reactionary moves. That level of confidence usually comes from clarity behind the scenes, even if that clarity hasn't been announced yet. And if that clarity does arrive in the coming weeks, right around the start of OTAs, it could completely reshape expectations for this team heading into the season. Because adding a quarterback of Rodgers' caliber, even at this stage, instantly changes the ceiling of the entire roster. It impacts how defenses prepare, how the offense is structured, and how realistic playoff ambitions become in a competitive AFC landscape. Now it's your turn to be part of this conversation. If you've stayed with me this far, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any breaking updates on this situation, because the moment that decision drops, we're going to break it down in real time. Leave your like on the video if you want to keep seeing this kind of deep Steelers coverage every single day, and drop your take in the comments. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is already mentally committed to Pittsburgh, or are you still not fully convinced until the contract is signed? And don't go anywhere. Click on the video that's on your screen right now, because the latest Steelers news and exclusive updates are waiting for you right there. And trust me, you're not going to find this level of detail anywhere else. Go Steelers!